Welcome back to the Belt Off Podcast. We are going to be talking about all kinds of things today, reading the questions that you guys answered, looking at some of those, and also we got a video from Jesse Inkamp that came out, and he says if you're in a jiu-jitsu competition or if you're trying to do jiu-jitsu, you can just stand up. Kind of like Derek Lewis said that one time. There's a clip of Derek Lewis just standing up through all kinds of grappling exchanges, and but he's a monster, right?
Right.
Different scenario. But we'll get into that. And first off, let's talk about finding a martial arts studio or a jiu-jitsu studio. Where should somebody start?
Finding a gym. So here, essentially, it just popped in my head. The most recent one of us three that has looked for a gym is this guy.
Yes.
What was your process? How did you find?
Facebook.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, and that ain't wrong. You found a solid gym, right? So there you go, man.
At the time, it was a garage.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was actually somebody I knew that was training with him, so I hit her up and asked her about it.
Yeah.
And then she referred me to Nick.
Yeah, referral, 100%, right? So I think that's how most people are going to go about it. I think most people are gonna get, first and foremost, if you got a buddy that trains, you're gonna go where they train. Like, why not? You know. So referrals, and if I look at my gym and the members and how we've gotten our people, it's referrals. Yeah. Pretty much high 90% of the time, I say by this point is referrals. So yeah, if you know somebody, ask them. That's how I would find a gym. If you know somebody that trains, ask them. They'll not only tell you about the gym they train at, they might be able to even tell you at a couple other gyms they tried, save you the hassle. Yeah. So that's important. Plus, they can give you a heads up on how that gym rolls, right? If it's, compared to the other gyms, hard training, compared to the other gyms, easy training, whatever. Like, you'll know what you're getting into. So, and if not, man, Google's an awesome thing, man. I go by Google, and I don't necessarily go by the reviews so much as I'll try it myself. I could see, I remember when I signed up at NorCal back in the day, I don't think reviews were a super big thing, but what I had heard of them was mostly like scary stuff, right? So, but I went there, signed up, trained there for 2 years, so obviously it didn't bother me. I don't think the reviews would affect me too much. I think I'd have to try it personally. But hey, if you're a review person, read the reviews, man, because those people probably ain't lying. I mean, it's always a little suspect if it's a bunch of 5-star reviews in the same day, right? If you see that, then be like, but if you see, go read through them and comb through them, and you'll see some honesty. So, yeah, man, and then just try it out. If the gym is trying to lock you in with money without letting you try it, that's suspect. Go try something else. Every gym should let you try it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we always offer a free class. Most places do. And then usually if you're not sold on it in that first day, they'll be like, just come back. We'll give it another try. Because, it is a big commitment that you're stepping into. A lot of places do offer month to month, which is a little less scary. If they're trying to lock you in for a year and only a year, that's where things get a little weird because why are they trying to keep you? I'd rather, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. Where, if you want to come train and stay with us, if you offer a good program in your month to month, people don't leave.
Yeah, it's true.
If you have a horrible program, but you're trying to trap people for a year,
right?
There's something going on there.
I mean, FYI though, like I didn't know this till I owned a gym, right? And I used to think that it was very suspect when they wanted to sign you up for contracts. But what I did learn is that they could be an awesome gym and absolutely need to sign you up for years. And that's because it's how our business is evaluated. Your business, if you ever have a gym and you want to go say, hey, what's my gym worth? You will go and you'll get evaluated based on how many members you have signed up, committed, contracted under you. So if you have like my gym, for example, all month to month, no contracts. I don't do contracts. I told myself a long time ago, I don't have it in me to send somebody to collections. So what's the point? I might as well use it as like an advertising thing. Hey, no contracts here, right? But when I went and evaluated my business, it was literally worth our assets. It was worth the mats, right? So when you find that out, you realize, okay, so some of these gyms, they just want to have some value. They might want to go get a loan and leverage their gym or something. And if you want to do that, you need to have contracts.
That makes sense. For sure.
We tried doing like 6 months or a year contracts, and the people who wanted to stay stayed anyway. And then if somebody wanted out, like, yeah, I don't send anyone to collections or anything.
No.
And if they need a month, it's like, hey, just let me know. We'll figure things out.
Totally.
But I have actually been sent to collections by
twice,
a gym.
Twice myself by gyms, yeah.
And I was signed up.
Back in the day, yeah.
I signed up I was told that I was being signed up for a 6-month contract. 6 months came up. I was like, you know what, I'm going to move on. And they said I'm under a year contract. I said, what the heck? I signed a 6-month contract. And they're like, well, we can't let you out of it. And so I discontinued training. I was just like, okay, I'm not going to pay it. And then it went to collections. The only way I could get out of collections was for the owner of the gym to actually say that they're willing to drop it.
Uh-huh.
And what they said was, okay, we'll offer you a buyout. So I paid like $300. And then I got the next collection notice. So the person pocketed the $300 and kept me in collections.
That's fucked.
That's great.
The gym got sold, and then so the debt got sold, and then the newer owner tried to collect, and then eventually it was like, you know what, I'll just drop it since you did do the buyout and all the thing. But it sounded like he knew there was some shady things going on.
That would have pissed me off, though.
Because he was trying to collect all these debts that were out there because of basically a scam.
Yeah.
So do be careful with contracts, but Michael's definitely right. If you get your business evaluated, if you're trying to leverage, you do need those contracts in place.
And just be careful, like if you are signing a contract, look for that part in there. I remember this is what got me. I got sent to collections twice myself. One of them was just, it was a straightforward contract that I just didn't realize what I was signing. And you know, a couple of years later, I realized that I had a bunch of bills added up. But one of them was a little small print, right? And some of them will say an automatic renewal will happen. And it will be written into the agreement that it automatically renews at the end, right? And you need to give 1 month notice before the end of your 1 year agreement. And if you don't, it's automatically renewed.
For another year?
No, month-to-month basis, right? So you could then cancel, right? Like, so what happens is I found out I was still getting charged. I hit them up, said, what are you doing? And he said, okay, well, are you canceling? And I said, well, yeah, man, I signed my agreement ended. What are you talking about? And he said, okay, well, now you're officially canceled, but you still owe for these 4 months. Right, and I was obviously pissed. Never paid it. I mean, I think that one's sat in collections. I'm kind of stubborn about those things, right? But yeah, just look out for that kind of stuff because those,
Definitely.
you know, they squeeze those in there.
Yeah, I think location matters too.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
location.
like, the guy I ran into when he was looking for a gym, he actually asked me about this place, and because he's in Petaluma, he ended up signing up with you.
Location, right? Yeah, no, of course that means a lot to people, man, and that is it's crazy. It means a lot at first, and it will eventually mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like you'll fall in love with a gym and move, 5 towns away and be like, I guess I drive 45 minutes to train now. It's like home, you just don't, those are your boys now, you're not leaving.
Depends on your commitment level and what you're looking for also, because there are people who only want a gym and they'll only go to the gym if they're within a 5-minute drive.
Yeah, they're not in for the camaraderie. They just want to go get a workout, break a sweat.
But yeah, you're right. The ones that actually make that commitment and want to stick to it and get good, and you build. We were talking about it before. You kind of build a family with the people that you're with, and I love having a group of people that are here like almost every night. They're here 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and you build that bond with those people. And yeah, if you move a town away, they're still gonna commute that town away. You got a great group of people, and finding a good gym is like finding a good relationship. Of course, it goes together.
Yeah. And you might take your first one for granted.
Yeah.
Like you'll find that first gym will be awesome. Maybe you do go and bounce around at other gyms and you realize, miss my first love. Yeah. I missed my first gym, man. That one was really awesome, man.
And then it's like getting back with an ex. That can be a little sketchy.
Hopefully that gym got open.
I'm sorry I went to this other place. Will you take me back?
Shut the door in your face right now. Get out of here.
No, never. We do, right? We always let them back.
Always let them back.
I always love you, even if you bail.
They learn. Some of the questions that we popped up with, what do you whisper in somebody's ear when you're finishing a rear naked choke? Matt Leon.
That's funny. I don't, obviously. I think my comment on there was something about the extended car warranty meme that goes around, right? But yeah, I would rather not hear anything while I'm being strangled. Thank you
Lullabies
very much.
are always my favorite.
Right.
You get in a mood, and it's like, oh, this one's coming on, here it comes, and then, hush, little baby. Say a word.
Now, there's a line from like The Hangover where he's trying to like smother the chicken with a pillow or something, and he goes, "Don't struggle." So I think there's been times when Rosie's had me in a choke and she's whispered that. We like that Hangover movie, right? She's like, "Don't struggle." It's perfect for that moment.
That was a good one. And then pull guard or be a man.
Pull guard or be a man. Well, I pull guard all the time nowadays, so I guess I'm
I'm pulling guard.
I'm opting with guard pulling.
I tried to trigger some people with that one. I pull guard too, right? Shooting takedowns, I like doing. It feels good when you get a good blast double on somebody, and you get that flush takedown. But yeah, pulling a guard does not make you not a man. There's a lot of women going, well. Yeah. I don't do I don't pull guard, but I shoot takedowns. What does that make me? And stuff. Yeah, went into a whole thing, but lots of reactions on that one. It was good.
The truth is, you gotta have a way to get it to the ground.
Yeah.
If you're gonna, it makes no sense to be an expert at ground fighting, and not have a way to get it to the ground, right? Yeah. But it also makes no sense. If you're talking about, if you're talking about a true expert in ground fighting, it makes no sense to call guard pulling not a way to get it to the ground.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, we would never suggest to like a student in their first year of jiu-jitsu, like, hey, if you ever do get into a fight, pull guard, right? We would never say that, right? We don't say that. But you're also pretty naive to think that like, name a high-level sport jiu-jitsu practitioner, black belt right now. You'd be naive to think that person couldn't pull guard in a bar fight and absolutely mop up whoever they pull guard on. They could, So if, let's say, hypothetically, you don't have a bunch of judo and wrestling, but you are a killer black belt on the ground, pull guard, bro. Yeah. What are they gonna do? I mean, unless it's multiple people jumping you, whatever, one of those scenarios, weapons, whatever. If it's just a fight, bro, you're fine. I don't care if you're on concrete. I'll be fine.
Yeah. How you pull guard matters also.
You're not jumping.
And don't just sit to your butt. Have something.
Whatever, but the truth is, if you're that good, that's you know that.
Grab an ankle.
You know that already. Yeah. Pulling guard is a way to get it to the ground. It's just not what we would suggest anybody do ever in a real fight because concrete is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, pulling guard for sport, you see so many ridiculous things with guard pulls in competitions and everything. There was that one video where they sat down together like 11 times in like a 15-second sequence. And it's like, what the heck is going on here? And it's just both people respected the other person so much that they were like, we are not starting from the feet, and they both kept dropping.
Well, they were also both wanting to be on bottom, so when the other one would come up, they'd come up, or vice versa.
Yeah,
they both was it one of those advantage scenarios where they were trying to get the advantage?
I don't know.
Because there's sport rules where if both people pull guard, whoever comes up on top first gets an advantage. Yeah. So they both pulled, which appears to think
they didn't even like really pull. They
sat. They did like a squat.
They did like a finger touch and sat.
Then squat and then back up. Yeah. Right, I saw that. The silliest looking thing. It literally makes jiu-jitsu look silly.
It does. So there's but yeah. But you see that in striking also, 2 counter strikers. They just back up the whole time.
Yeah, boring. Right?
Yeah, you see like 6 strikes the whole fight because nobody wants to throw first.
Lots of feints.
And that's very similar with a guard puller and a wrestler. It's like, who's going to go first? Who's going to...
I mean, sometimes... I don't know. I think wrestlers wrestle.
Yeah.
Wrestlers wrestle, bro. I don't think that's the same as 2 counter punches because a wrestler is not a counter. We're going to wrestle.
You're right.
Right? So a guard puller, really, it's a matter of like, can you sit before they score because of the way the points work. Right?
I was talking to Derek. We were working that yesterday. He's got a couple people from 10th Planet in his bracket. He's just got no-gi.
Oh, cool.
And he struggled a little bit with the triangles in the previous ones.
Defending?
Yeah.
Okay.
He gets out of a lot of them. He's a big, explosive guy. But, I was talking about waiting. And, I was telling him to get down into a low stance like you do. That way they can't shoot under, and wait till that contact happens.
Right.
Because if you're shooting from too far away, yeah, they're going to take it all day long. But wait until they make a decent contact, because then you're in on it.
Right. Now you're talking about them shooting it on him? Because they're
Pulling
going to
guard.
pull. Yeah, they're going to pull.
So getting super low.
Like
Like what you do with me, getting under your legs when you're super low like that. You're looking for those ankle picks and things.
Yeah, and I'm looking to maybe pull also.
And I'm like, how am I going to get under that? I got to like slide underneath you like I'm going into third base trying to get underneath your legs.
I mean, he can anticipate those guys to just kind of do what that video, like touch fingers and sit. Like that's what he can anticipate from them.
So we were talking about doing ankle picks and getting underneath and not letting them get that big pull to get underneath.
And I mean, if he's doing an ankle pick, if that's in his game plan, that would tell me that his goal is to score that quick too, right?
Yep.
In which case, his goal would then be for the rest of the match to dominate top,
hang out,
work for pass. Whew, that's a tiring game plan, bro. I've done that game plan before. That's exhausting. I mean. Yeah, you can do that, though.
He's good off of his back also.
He's just not going to be there against those guys. They're going to pull first.
The goal is just not get stuck in guard.
Don't get stuck in that damn rubber guard. Right?
Yeah.
And he does tend, like I've been telling him, get on your feet more. So if he hunkers down, that's kind of right into their wheelhouse, right?
Yep.
So I tell him to avoid the guard like the plague, bro. Combat base, they're going to tangle up his legs too. So,
This one actually came from you. Can a coach build champions that has never competed?
Yeah, I gave him a little list of questions. That was one of them. And I was thinking of trying to just think of things that would stir the pot, really, when I thought of those questions. But that particular one is like, to me, is a no-brainer because the proof is out there already.
The most common ones that popped up were John Danaher.
Yeah, totally.
What he's done.
Totally. Right.
And then like Jackson Wink.
Jackson Wink for sure. And then plus like just this list that's a mile long of wrestling coaches. Because wrestling is not an art it's real common for the coach to be competing. In fact, it's straight up uncommon, like a unicorn almost, to where a high school wrestling coach is also doing tournaments. Like everybody's jiu-jitsu professor competes in the masters divisions, it seems like, right? They don't have that in wrestling. They have masters divisions, but they're not very popular. So you have to travel for them. There's only one big one a year that I like to do in Vegas, but there's really not a lot. There's not a big wrestling scene for older dudes, so it's just not nearly as common. You know what I mean?
The other answer that popped up a lot was if you have professional football, soccer, all these things. A lot of the times the coach has never played high level.
Right.
Exactly.
They went when they were in college. They were in college to be a coach, not to be a competitor, or an athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think to me the impressive thing is when you were never active, because the wrestling coaches, for example, I'm referring to, they had their time.
They all
had
did
their
high
prime.
school wrestling.
Yeah, they did their thing.
Wrestling,
They maybe didn't go as far as like maybe D1 wrestling. Maybe they even stopped after high school, but they still got some action in. For a guy like, I don't think did Danny here ever compete?
He's, had his body issues for a long time.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like I said, less common in jiu-jitsu, but even with the jiu-jitsu ones, it's like usually they had something, even if it was just a white belt competition career, right? Like there's a guy that I follow on Facebook, Dan Lukart, I think is his last name. I can't say his last name right, but he doesn't compete. I think he got some concussions back in the day, but he's a great coach. Yeah. He's like an amazing coach, super, super high jiu-jitsu grappling IQ, right? So there's guys like that. That either they didn't compete at all, or they did like Dan. I think it was like as a white belt and blue belt maybe, but then got hurt and stopped.
He was a blue belt, yeah.
Right, or not at all. But nevertheless, their IQ is so high, so high that they can do it. So
definitely.
The counter argument to that was to be able to process people's nerves, right? So if you've never competed, you don't know what it necessarily feels like to compete. But like what you were saying, even if it's amateur or like a local competition, most people who are teaching have done at least that, I would believe. So there's some similar things. And then when you get into world-class champions, nerves aren't a thing.
Exactly. No, for
you're
sure.
beyond that point. So helping your average person that's looking at taking on their first competition,
Exactly. Total
having
difference.
a little bit of knowledge of like, oh, this is just a local tournament that we're going to. Yeah, there's going to be nerves, and you can walk somebody through that.
Yeah.
And most people who are teaching have done at least that. They might not have made it to the highest levels and things, but
Right.
yeah, they're doing that.
They can definitely create champions for sure.
Yeah, creating champions. Build champions if you've never competed. Let's look at a video. Jesse Inkamp came out with this video, and I will be...
Who is Jesse Inkamp now?
He is a karate guy. He's got tons and tons of videos on YouTube.
Okay, he's not a jiu-jitsu guy at all?
He's a personality guy. No, he's studied in Okinawa. I don't know his whole background and life story, but pretty well-known guy. And let me pull this
See, I
up.
don't even know the well-known guys.
I have no idea who this dude is.
I don't follow.
So we'll watch this, and I'll plug it into the screen right here also.
A Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament to prove that it doesn't work.
He's entering a
They
jiu-jitsu
say 90%
tournament.
of fights end up on the ground. But 100% start standing up, and that's where we want the fight. I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
gonna be
only works
comical.
if you play along with it. And to prove my point, I'm gonna enter a tournament on the street and simply stand up.
So his goal...
So wait a second,
Yep.
a question.
Yep.
I know that the rules don't let you walk away from the fight. So if you just stand up, the referee would then point to the guy on bottom, and you have to engage.
I have seen this video, and we will get into that. But yeah, his whole point is if you're in a jiu-jitsu match, does it work if the other person chooses not to engage in the ground game?
Right, and he's failing to mention that he wants to test this against novice level jiu-jitsu,
Yes. In the video...
meaning white belts.
Right.
Right.
And he is a black belt in karate. He's been training for like all his life. His whole family's in it. So I think his mom is a black belt instructor, and
Yeah.
she's in her 80s, I believe. I saw a video on that. But yeah, he's a very experienced martial artist.
Right, white belt in jiu-jitsu.
And he's going to compete
definitely a white belt in jiu-jitsu.
He's going to compete in the white belt. So I've cut out some of the fluff that they added to it, and it is a bit of satire that I cut out. So that take that into account because we can't put the whole thing on YouTube, and this will be playing as we're watching. So let's get into it.
Turns out, standing up is much harder than I thought.
So he's rolling with
Especially-
higher
rolling with the
level.
purple belt right now.
What a new opponent. My
Want a
next
new
opponent
opponent.
is just a brown belt. But he immediately chokes me out.
Okay, so he's
They call this an Ezekiel choke.
experiencing the reality.
Now that I know how it works, I can easily avoid it.
My man.
Gotta stand up.
So this is the footage that you're seeing is his gym also. So he has a whole karate program, but he also has a jiu-jitsu program that he doesn't
This
run.
is satire, then, man.
It is-
He
it is-
appreciates jiu-jitsu.
It is. It was just kind of. It's funny to watch
Okay.
this and see what happens, and the matchup that he gets is pretty interesting for the competition.
Okay.
Dance the same way. This is not what I had in mind. That's when they suddenly announce my name. It's
So we're at the
finally time to
competition
see
now.
if Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works.
And he is wearing white belt. His brother is at MMA. We told him he's a white belt, so he goes out in the white
When
belt
the fight
competition.
starts, my opponent immediately tries to grab my sleeves.
Now what I'm
All I
seeing
wanna
here
do is push his hands
is they
away.
didn't get the best white belt either.
That's when he does
It don't matter. Pick any of them.
He just
But
lies down and tries to pull me on top of him.
he's stripping grips, though.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. I like
I just stand up.
it. Way to
My
break
opponent
those
grabs my
grips.
lapel. So I try to strip his
Yep.
wrist off with both hands.
Strip it, bud.
But his grip is too good.
Uh-oh.
That's when he tries to pull me down again. But I just pop back up and move away.
Yeah.
I can sense that.
So this is like the Derek Lewis thing. Have you seen the highlight reel of Derek Lewis just standing up?
No, you told me about that.
He says jiu-jitsu isn't real, and then there's like 10 clips of him just standing up from being in like bottom half guard.
Yeah.
He just rolls the guy over and stands up. Pretty hilarious. But that's what his process is thinking here is just break grips, stand up.
opponent is getting
Yeah.
frustrated because I refuse to go down to the ground with him.
I mean, it's working.
It is working
That's when he tries
at
to
white belt
attack.
level.
Yeah.
He goes for a foot sweep.
And
I
also,
decide to
man,
return the favor
can
by
I
face.
ask, like, what's
But
working?
luckily, he just lies down
What's
anyway.
working? You know what's working?
Well, this dude ain't getting nowhere.
Well, no, check this out. What I mean is that what he's doing that works is something I would teach in my class.
Right.
And what's in my jiu-jitsu
That's when the
class,
referee
I would
suddenly
teach
stops
strip
that.
the grip,
Yeah.
step off of that leg, step off of that. We
Yeah.
would drill that right there, bro.
Yeah.
So he's doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Good.
No, and
You're
that's
stripping grips and you're stepping off the
Exactly,
legs.
yeah, yeah.
I
that's,
mean,
that's a trap that I fall into. Is I'm always trying to engage, and yeah, you were always telling me just back out, reset.
right, you gotta
dude.
be wise about how you
Yeah.
engage.
Yeah.
right?
And so this is where the referee comes in and says that he needs to
Engage.
stop
The ref
stalling.
wants him to engage.
That's when the referee suddenly stops the action.
Yeah, because you have to fight, bro.
Apparently, I've broken some kind of rule. He tells me that I'm not allowed to disengage. And if I don't start grappling, I'm gonna get disqualified.
Is he just gonna
And now,
take the
my
DQ?
opponent
Let's see.
refuses to even stand up. I doubt this is what the ancient
Refuses. He
samurai
didn't
warriors
refuse,
had in
man.
mind
He was allowed to
when
stay
they
down.
And so then he goes
Refuses.
right, and then it goes into a little bit of history, and this is an interesting point. So let's watch this.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be used as a last resort when your weapons fail, and the last place you want to go on the battlefield is the ground. But something changed when the art spread to Brazil. It became a sport, and the essence was lost. This is the exact same thing that happened to karate. Today, you can even become an Olympic champion by getting knocked out.
Huh. I saw that.
So that's interesting to me. If we go back to the roots of jiu-jitsu, you know,
Right.
it traces back to judo and then into the samurai. How much of that story that we hear in jiu-jitsu is legitimate is hard to say, right? It's just like any history thing. It's documented that it goes back, but it's hard to say were samurais actually using jiu-jitsu, what type of jiu-jitsu, what moves were they using. It's hard to compare today's martial art to that. And that's kind of what he was saying, but is that
He
a bad
was spot
thing?
on. No,
Yeah.
what he said was 1,000% right. And as far as what kind of jiu-jitsu, I think they're doing jiu-jitsu, the same jiu-jitsu really. I think that they had a guard system, closed guard system, you know, and all that. But I think what he's saying is right, because imagine what we do right now when we drill, when we spar, what we do is we let each other survive over and over again. When they tap out, we let them survive, right? And what he said is the truth. In their world, was there a tap out? No. So if it did go to the ground, were two people going to get up and walk away? No, one was. So was it the last place yes, last place you wanted to go.
Exactly.
So what he said was spot on. Doesn't mean that they weren't super well trained on the ground. In fact, that would probably be a reason for them to be experts on the ground, because only one guy gets up to walk away. Right?
Exactly.
And then with that, he was saying how karate, you can get knocked out and win the championship. I was watching a taekwondo match one time, and the guy barely tapped the other guy's nose, and at the same time, he got blasted in the belly with a round kick, and the round kick like sent this guy back. But because he grazed the nose, it was the guy who touched his nose won.
Yeah.
It was like, well, you just got blasted with a round kick, and the guy was on the ground and everything. So it was like a big. It wasn't just like just a round kick. This thing knocked the guy down, but his nose got grazed, and it's like that guy's the winner.
Sport.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah,
make
that was
the
a real
argument.
situation. Dude, yeah. Got knocked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports you can make the argument that taking a martial art and turning it into a sport ruins it.
Look at judo.
You could.
Right? Judo
there's
had
tons
so
of
many things, lots of groundwork, lots more takedowns, and then because of the Olympic Committee, it turned into how high can I throw you?
Right.
So, yeah, great points there. Let's get through a little bit more.
So now I am left with no other choice but to finish the fight. It's time
Finish the
to
fight.
put the martial back in martial
Look
arts.
at this.
This was not part
Pass.
of the plan, so I have to find a way to win.
There you go. Now he's got
Luckily,
a grapple.
my opponent gives me his leg, so I try to break it.
Try to break
But the
it.
referee tells me I'm not allowed to do that.
Because he's
So
wearing
I
a
have
white
to
belt.
let go. I'm trying my best to avoid my opponent's attacks, but I'm afraid that if I'm too passive, I will get disqualified. So I'm left with no other
You
choice.
still strip
but
that
to go
grip though,
down to the
bro.
ramp.
Keep stripping those grips.
This right here was kids class 101.
Walked right in the mount.
I will get disqualified. So I'm left with no other choice but to go down to the
There
ground.
you go.
And luckily, I know exactly what to do from here.
The Ezekiel from earlier in the video.
There you go. Good work, white belt. Yeah, you look like a white belt.
And we were just talking about those Ezekiels last week. It's like white belt kryptonite.
Just like that, I proved my point.
Yeah, that was
Because no
satire.
matter what
That was
martial
total
art you
satire. He
practice,
respects
it's
jiu-jitsu,
important that we
obviously.
Don't lose sight of its original purpose.
Yeah.
If he would have just stood up, that would never have happened.
At the end of the day, it's not what you do, but how you do it. Because
Yeah, so interesting. It is satire. Jesse and Cam respects all martial arts.
He was,
Clearly,
he was
yeah.
definitely doing jiu-jitsu.
But it was an interesting video. What do you think, which leads me to my next question, what do you think about black belts and other martial arts competing as white belts in jiu-jitsu?
I think they're white belts in jiu-jitsu. They should. I think the only one that makes sense for them not to is black belts in judo. You know, they should go blue belt. Or like I had a situation where little Kev, he's a brown belt now. He did pans back as a white belt years ago, right? He entered pans, and he lost in the finals to a judo black belt. Okay, and I was pissed, right, when I found out that because the rules state they clearly state in the rules if you're a judo black belt you cannot enter the white belt division. Okay, but my guy pulled guard over and over. He was not doing judo, and I think his coach straight up said, "Don't do any judo." You know, that would be mean, right? But you could just tell the way he moved, even on the ground. He had like a really advanced half guard game. I remember for a white belt, thinking, "Man, he's really working that half guard well."
Yeah.
You know, for
Half
a white
guard's a
belt,
tough position.
You know, it is to understand, and he clearly understood it, you know, really well, and he still barely eked out a win over my guy Kevin's, you know, tough as nails. But yeah, so they are white belts, though. That's the thing. There's, of course, they should enter the white belt division. They're white belts, right? With the exception of a grappling, you know, judo, doing throws in the white belt division of a jiu-jitsu tournament, right? Or college wrestlers, like they have that rule too.
Yeah.
College wrestlers should enter blue belt division. And again, like I wrestled in junior high and high school, never wrestled in college, right? So I remember competing white belt pans and wrestling my way through the whole thing. So the thing about wrestling is you don't need to have wrestled in college, and you can still absolutely mop up guys in jiu-jitsu. So I understand it with grappling-based arts. Yeah, but if you're a karate black belt, you're a white belt in jiu-jitsu, my friend. Yeah.
A lot of karate incorporates groundwork.
Oh, do they?
They do.
I didn't know that.
They do. No, we always see, you know, what we see on TV of, you know, the Karate Kid and that sort of thing. But no, karate actually has a decent amount of like judo throws, tomo nagis and things like that. They have in it. So they do have a decent. It's a basic understanding, but it is an understanding. And
Yeah, it's still white belts. And a white belt
depending
division.
on where you are training, right, it might be white, blue. It's hard to say of what level you could actually get to. But yeah, how, Candia Tucker, she's been very, very active on the page, so thank you for that. She's asking how she can get more aggressive in competitions or to hit that switch.
How to develop a switch, basically, I guess.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, what that switch basically is what I've found is that switch is just the way you channel your nervous energy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's how you channel your nervous energy. That's how I flip the switch, and that's why I flip the switch early, right? Like some people will say like, oh, you know, try to not flip the switch till like, you know, right before your match or like the morning of. It's like, dude, I flip the switch when my nerves start to feel. When I feel my nerves. And if that's 2 days before the tournament, then you're going to see me walking around like I got a match in 10 minutes. 2 days before the tournament. And that's the flip switch. And that's me channeling those nerves. So once you feel the nerves, put them into that place, right?
I actually did a very similar thing. My first 3 competitions, I was a nervous wreck. I've stated that before. My nerves, horrible nerves. And what I started doing is not even thinking about, which some people need to think about it more and get into that mode. Yeah. I just completely spaced it out. Anytime it would pop into my brain, I was like, you know, I'm just going to go to training today, do my thing. But I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about my opponent. I'm not doing anything. Car ride, trying to space it out until I'm walking on that mat. And then it's all right. It's go time. Because if you've prepared, you're good. If you haven't prepared, there's no point in, like, I would rather spend the time practicing than looking up my opponent and looking up their Facebook, and because this is something people do.
I did that.
This is something people do, especially early on. And at white belt, you're not going to find much footage. It might be or even blue belt, it might be footage of previous. Yeah. You can kind of see with grappling industry, smooth comp, you can see like their win-loss record.
That, man. Don't
look
up
you're just going to get in your head so bad. So just focus that energy that you would be putting into training a little bit more.
Here, check it out. Like, for looking up your opponents, do it if you're like, if you don't even get nervous, like if you are truly just game planning, you know, and like you know, you're a black belt and you're just been doing this your whole career and you want to know who's this guy, is he a leg lock guy, what is he? I want to know, right? Look up your opponent. But if not, if you're a blue belt and you're wanting to find out who this guy is, do you think he posted anything of him looking like trash?
Yeah.
Like, he's posting highlight vids that mom recorded, right? And they're good ones. And then when he's killing it, right? He's gonna scare you, man. Yeah. You know, he's gonna always show you his cauliflower ear side, never show you his regular ear, right? He's gonna do everything that he can to look like a beast, and you're gonna be watching his little highlight reel, like, oh fuck, what am I getting into? Don't do that. I mean, yeah, I stopped looking. I learned in high school wrestling to don't go look at the brackets, right? Because I'd get nervous, right? People would be like, oh, what seed are you? I'd be like, I don't know. I don't look, right? So you learn that about yourself. Some people, I know for a fact, they come alive. They flip their switch when they see the bracket, right? Because it becomes real, right? They look at the competitor list and they're like, all right, somebody signed up in my division. Let's go, right? You know, so they want to see. I don't want to know. I'm gonna show up. If one guy showed up, cool.
It made it worse for me.
Yeah.
And I look. Yeah, and
makes it worse for me too.
I didn't even intentionally look. I was just on the grappling industry page, and then like I seen my matchup, and it showed like his profile picture, and so I was like, oh okay, and I clicked on it, and I was like, damn. Dude looks like a fighter. Like you said, cauliflower ears and everything. I was so nervous, dude. I remember walking on the mat, dude, my legs just shaking. I felt like I can't even stand up, dude.
I've been there.
But I needed that, and I ended up winning. That was my first match. And I won that one.
There you go. That's
because I was scared as hell.
So it didn't psych you totally out.
And
I was pretty nervous.
That's something you get with a little bit of experience too. Is sometimes the people who scare you the most aren't who you need to be afraid of.
Yeah, it's the person you least expect.
First competition, you don't really know that, but yeah, you see like you're with IBJJ, if you're in the bullpen with all the guys and everything, and you're waiting, and you're like, okay, who am I going to beat? Who's here? Yeah.
Sizing everybody
You
up.
just get in your head, and it's like, oh, I think I can take that. Oh, I definitely can. It's like you've already won or lost if you thinking, you've already lost if you're thinking like that. But
yeah, and for example, like what you're just saying, like my first blue belt competition, I seen, I think it was two of the dudes I was going up against, and it was my first time competing. I think I was 120. No, I was 135. Yeah. So, and then the white belt was 145. So I'm down 10 pounds lighter. These dudes are lean and small. So I'm looking at them and they look small. One of the dudes looks scared as hell as he's looking at me, and I'm just looking at the dude, and I like not to make any excuses because I lost that match, but I was looking at him and I felt bad. Yeah. And I wasn't even tripping, dude. I went in not even nervous, dude, and he smoked me.
You see that sometimes in the kids.
Felt bad.
I did. I'm like, how am I gonna feel
scared,
like
man, I'm gonna go hug him.
You see that sometimes in the kids brackets. It's like the kid lost the last 3 matches. They're walking out again. They've been crying and then they stepped up and walked back onto the mat. That's saying something. Yeah. But man, it's tough to see them go through that again. But it's learning. It's learning. What is your kryptonite when it comes to food? What gets you?
Man, everything.
Ice cream.
Pizza.
Ice cream's one of mine.
Pizza's bad.
Everything. Yeah. You know, I used to be think I was more of a salt tooth than a sweet tooth. It's everything, man. Yeah. Like I don't even. I think I saw a comment where somebody, it might have been the same person, was commenting about cheating on your diet or something. Like, what's your favorite one? I was thinking to myself, like I don't. The only thing I don't cheat on is my wife. Like everything. Like I struggle with discipline, man. I really do struggle with discipline, right? And because I'll tell myself to not eat certain things, and
5 minutes later, you're eating it.
yeah, dude, 100%.
Now you've thought about it.
Or it's like I'm so fired up and motivated to not eat that when I'm full.
Yeah.
Right? But then I get hungry. And all of a sudden it's different, right?
You eat, it's like going to the grocery store after you just ate. You buy a lot less.
Isn't that the truth, bro? You go hungry.
Oh, man.
Don't go when you're hungry.
And
bro.
it's all munchy food. You like ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah,
I've seen your
Fudge
posts.
sickles, ice cream sandwiches. But the cool thing is they stay within my macros, so it's not even like I'm not feeling guilty when I eat them.
Yeah,
that's good.
It fits. Unless I eat too many, then I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite YouTuber or personality?
For
Any
martial arts or what?
martial arts, fitness,
I like
Diet.
How to Beast. How to Beast is dope.
how to beast?
Wes Watson.
Yep.
He's a good one. There's a lot. But Chewy for Jiu Jitsu.
Chewy's cool.
And of course, I like Nick Johnson, Belts Off podcast.
We are growing like crazy on our Facebook page, so make sure that you're following me on that one. That's where I get a lot of these
What's
questions.
that other
also.
guy? Diligent Minds?
Yeah.
He's pretty dope too.
That guy's okay. That guy's okay.
No, I don't. I feel like the only guys that I follow are on like Instagram because I don't go on YouTube a lot. I don't. I definitely don't go on TikTok.
So it's
or
definitely
anything.
me then.
Well, I mean, Dubious Dom. Dubious Dom is the guy that I feel like is the man. If I could follow one jiu-jitsu guy and feel like I was telling somebody the other day, his posts are so freaking clean that if you wanted to have no curriculum and just follow him and like teach what he posts, you'd be good. You'd make killers. Like, obviously his birth certificate name ain't Dubious Dom. I don't even know his real name. Yeah. If I ever saw him in person, I'd be like, Dubious. Right? I don't know. But yeah, that guy. Look him up.
Ramsey Dewey, actually, we became friends on Facebook. That was super cool. He threw a shout out. That was really cool. I've been following him for about 6 years. He's got a couple 100,000 people on YouTube that subscribe to him. So that was cool. This little bit of fame that I'm getting is a little surreal. You know, just posting what we think and what we like and our perspectives on things is trying to motivate and get you guys going. So that was super cool to see that come through. What do you do for recovery if you're messed up, body aches?
I don't. I recover. I let time go by, man, and then I train again. Yeah, I don't have much of a regiment, right? Of a daily, like, oh, I always do this, and I know some guys do, and when they do, I'm always admiring them, right? I think it's very admirable to put in like a lot of extra self-care, like kind of stuff that's important that you don't think to do. Like we got a guy in my gym, Christian, that is always doing these knee stretches and stuff.
I was just gonna say stretching.
Right, like after training, really weird stuff that to me is just like eye roll, that takes 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And he'll sit there for 45 seconds and just have a conversation while he's like bending his knee a certain way.
Right.
And then he does it to the other one. And like there's this regimen he does, and maybe that's why he's so freaking healthy and all that, right? But yeah, I admire that in people, but I've never gotten myself into it, man.
Yeah.
I think it's discipline again. It comes to the discipline.
Yeah, I know a lot of things
don't
that help
have that.
too, like cold plunges, bath salts, shit like that. Stretching is one of them, and then rest. Rest is important, and then trying to stay active too.
Yeah.
Like I notice when I'm really fucked up. Like for example, like last week I did my legs in the gym and just killed them. And every time I sat down for like longer than 20 minutes, dude, I was in so much pain. I just had to keep moving, staying active, stretching.
What's the cold plunge do for you?
It just helps blood flow.
'Cause I hear about it, and it just seems like my worst nightmare.
The theory behind
I don't do it often. I used to take cold showers a lot, but
the theory behind it is
circulation.
blood flow is what creates healing, right? So the places that we have low blood flow, like our feet and our knees, take longer to heal than something like a bicep or that sort of thing. So what happens is when you get into an ice bath, your body goes into panic mode. It rushes all the blood back to your core. And then when you get out, the blood then goes back to your limbs. And so you're flushing your limbs with fresh blood. I don't know how effective.
That deep.
I don't know how. This is what I've heard. Yeah. So I don't know how effective it is or not. There's conflicting stories depending on, but the general consensus is it's pretty good. The NFL, the NBA, all the high-level athletes do it, so there's got to be something behind it, right? If you're being paid millions of dollars and your coach is saying to do this, there's probably a reason behind it. But yeah, that's typically. Now, I don't know if it affects like lactic acid and that sort of thing that's in your muscles. Could, might not, who knows. What I found is, for me, I had lower back pain. I had all kinds of issues especially from doing like a lot of rolling and everything, and the fitness program that we do 25-30 minutes a day has made a world of difference. Swinging the mace, my lower back pain, I haven't had lower back pain in a few months. I used to stand up and be like an old man, like hunched over and like waiting for my back to release, right, so that I could posture up and stand up straight. That plagued me for years and years in jiu-jitsu, and swinging the kettlebells and the maces completely relieved that. So I make sure that I stay on that. And then I've always had like messed up knees, and trying to get the mobility work like he was doing with his knees. Hip flexion, the knees back and forth, trying to get those going. I can do duck walks again, slowly on the left side, but I can do that. So that's awesome. The right side's always been pretty good, but my left side has always been an issue. But yeah, try to do some mobility stuff, but swing some weights. Weight training is huge, even if it's 20 minutes, 3 or 4 days a week. It makes a big difference. It did for me anyway.
Even if it's lightweight.
Yeah, I typically grab, depending on how I'm feeling that day, whether I'm overtrained or not, I typically only go from like 15 to 25 pounds with a kettlebell. So nothing crazy, but I swing it for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And then the mace, 10 pounds is plenty. 10 pounds on a mace, that'll get you a workout. That's crazy. Yeah. So try that. Try
Probably not.
No.
Probably not, man. I love you guys. I love you too much to lie to you.
What's the dumbest response you've gotten when you tell somebody you train?
The karate gestures, like I said.
Those were. Yeah.
I mean, I think everything is a tie for first with the karate gestures, right? Like anything really is silly usually.
I like you're a tough guy.
Yeah. I got, I won't mess with you so many times, and it's like I'm the last person you need to worry about. Like, we train, we're calm. Like, getting into a fight, we're the last people in the room that are gonna get into the fight. Like, we're gonna watch the dumbasses choke each other or try to choke each other out that don't know anything first.
We'll commentate.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that is
Gracie breakdown.
That is not how you do that. There's issues going on. But yeah, there was a lot of comments on those. That was definitely something that people were talking about. And then we got one more is for people who are feeling discouraged when it comes to their training, or like they're hitting a plateau. Right. How do you recommend getting through that?
Well, there's only one way to get through that, man.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, time's got to pass. Yeah. Anything hard in life just takes time. And plateaus in training are no different.
Yep.
You just got to not stop. You got to keep going. That's it, man. It's part of it. Yeah.
Those plateaus are, if you push through it, right? From my experience, for me, whenever I hit a plateau, it's like lasting a while, like, man, when is this like gonna change? And getting your mind on something new or different, or trying to practice something else, is a good way. But usually right when the plateau gets the worst, it's like, bing, something happens. Right. And you're skyrocketed into this next vault. Maybe you've been working 2 or 3 different things, and every time you try it, you get passed, and you get smashed, and you're like, man, my jiu-jitsu's getting worse. And then you try it, and you get smashed, and you get smashed, and you get smashed. It's like, man, I used to be good against this person. You can't do anything. And then all of a sudden, those moves start working, and now you have a whole new piece of your game that you've added to it. And so you hit that skyrocket because you have everything that you had before, plus this new game or the new pieces that you have to flow from this to that, or an escape that works even better than the previous one that you did, but you're never going to get there unless you try new things. Kind of like with the wrestling talk that we were talking about before, is if you don't embrace jiu-jitsu and you just try to be a wrestler, you're going to get to a point. You're going to get pretty good, but to get to that next level, you need to embrace what you're bad at.
Yeah, 100%, man.
And I wouldn't really be too hard on yourself if you're getting discouraged, because you got to give yourself credit. You're showing up, you're putting in the work, and eventually you're going to get past that plateau.
Just try to keep grinding.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Definitely.
Yeah, just keep showing up, man.
Yeah. All right. So, Dylan, you got your Diligent Minds. You got your... Do you have a new weight, a new goal that you're looking at? What's going on with the weight loss?
I'm still leaning down. The goal weight, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's going to be probably like 120.
Yeah.
And I'm 132 today, so...
You've been hovering around that 130, 134 mark.
That's a plateau.
A while.
Yeah.
We just talked
It is a
about that?
plateau,
That's a
yeah.
plateau. What
But
are you supposed to do again?
see, I know
Let's
what
keep
it.
going.
I know what it's from, because I upped my macros for a while, so I was eating like 600 more calories, eating more carbs, eating more fats. So I slowed down for a little bit, and then I slipped up, went up a little bit, and then dropped the macros. So then I worked back down from 138. I think that was 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm at 132. So I feel like this time I'm a lot closer than I've ever been, especially in my mind. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like when I get below 130, it's just gonna be like a breeze. Because like that's how it was when I was 240.
Yeah.
Like it took me so many times to get to 200.
Yeah.
And once I got past down below 200, it was like a mental block. It was over. It just all came off. So I don't know. I feel like I'm having that mental block right now of 130, because 130 is the furthest I've ever been, and every time I get down there, I just go back up.
Yeah.
So it's fucking with me, And I feel once I get below that, it's just gonna be like, all right.
So at 240 it was tough to break through.
Yeah.
You said what
Past
was
200.
What in between 200 was tough to break through?
Yeah. From
What
240
else?
to 200.
That 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds different than a breakthrough. What did you hover at? What did you get stuck at? You're right now. You're stuck at 132.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't
So
bust
it
through.
was like,
Have you gotten stuck at anything on the way?
yeah. I would be trying to get below 200. I was stuck at 200 for a while.
So at 200
Yeah.
on the money. Okay.
Yeah. And that was like trial and error, like probably like a good, I want to say it took me like a year and a half to get below 200 from starting point.
That's a serious. That's
Yeah. But I didn't know what I was doing either. So
That's
it
a
was all
long
trial and
time,
error.
bro.
Yeah.
So your weight loss journey has been stretched out through over how much time?
Probably like 6 years, going on 6
No
years.
way. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. Okay, crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I've lost over 100 pounds, so
Okay.
Yeah.
And you spent a couple years at 200 trying to get below 200.
yeah, at least a year.
Man, I only know 135-pound Dylan, man.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
don't
your
know the other
185 to 135 went quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, once I got below 200, it was like,
And that was with
it
us.
clicked. Yeah. That's where I feel I am
Like
now.
fitness classes or just training
just
jiu-jitsu,
Just training,
kickboxing?
yeah.
He also
Kickboxing.
goes to the gym
Yeah.
a lot. Yep.
Yeah. And then learning how to eat, that helped a lot too. But I feel it's just in my head again, like that 130 block. And every time I've gotten down to 130, it's taken me. So I'd start at like, I don't know, 145, 150, right? And I'd diet down to 130, hella good. And it'd take me like 2.5 months. And I'd get there, and because I've just been dieting so long and been on such a restricted level, like I'd get to 130 and I'm like, all right, I deserve a cheat meal, right? And so then I'd take a cheat meal and I'd fall off for like a week, 2 weeks, and then I'd gain back like 10 pounds. And it was a fucking cycle of just losing it, getting down, and then gaining it back. And now I'm starting it lower than I've ever started. I started 137. So I feel once I get past the 130, it's just gonna.
So when's the last time you did that? What you just said, where you had a cheat meal that turned into 10 pounds? What's the most recent time that happened?
Probably like a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how often do they happen? Is it every month? Is that like a once a month thing, or is that once every few months?
To be honest, sometimes it's like, like once a month.
So we can anticipate the next one soon. right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
but
catch it, right? Because it's a cycle, bro. Like you said that, right? You said
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
cycle. You're right. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
So maybe you could time it, right? You see that day coming up, and you know you're like, I feel it. I feel it coming on.
See,
Man.
what I've been doing that's helped me a lot is so I'd go over like this is what would lead to the cheat meals. I'd go over in my macros for the day.
Yeah.
Like say I ate like 30 grams too many carbs, right? And I got like fucking, I don't know, 100 calories left, and it's like all protein. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, I already fucked up, so I'm just gonna eat whatever. So what I've been doing now, and then that would lead to like just overeating like the whole day, and then the next day maybe,
Right.
and then it just drag out, right? So what I've been doing now is not being so hard on myself. Like when I go over the 30 grams of carbs, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna call that as a win and cut myself off, rather than just say, fuck it, this is my excuse to binge.
Yeah.
And that's been helping me stay on track.
I've heard that story a lot of times, and that can be applied to anything
Yeah.
because if you miss a day of training, oh, it's okay, I'll miss the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Wednesday.
That's the mindset everybody
I'll show
has.
up again next week.
Yeah.
No, you can make another
Yeah.
class. Come on.
Or, oh, I fucked up, it's Thursday, let me go through the weekend, I'll start again on Monday.
Yeah.
You know? And so,
Turns into 9 months.
exactly.
It happened to me.
Yeah, yeah. So allowing myself that, like, basically just reshaping how I look at the loss as looking at it as a win and then cutting myself off, that's that much closer than if I just binge and eat another 1,500 calories. You know? So that's been helping a lot.
I have a hard time with being. I'm always hard on myself. I always want to try to push myself to the extremes and like do as much as I possibly can at the hindrance of me, right? I didn't show up to class this morning. I was like, I have been beat down. Last night I was like dragging through the workouts and the classes. I'm like, I need to get some energy back in me because I am just exhausted. So taking the morning off was brutal on me this morning, but I did it. So I did some other things.
Taking the morning off was brutal? Or you took the morning off to
Not
take
showing
it,
up.
to take it easy?
Yep.
So that was easy.
I needed.
That wasn't brutal.
It was
Training
brutal
would
on
have
his
been brutal.
mind.
On
Well,
my mind,
no. I think training would have been brutal.
Right.
Training would have been brutal on your mind and yeah. So you yeah.
I think what he's feeling is the guilt from not going.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
That's
100%.
100%.
And that's
right.
what eats me alive
Exactly.
when I have to make these
Me too.
compromises.
Yeah.
Because I'm listening to my body and listening to the things that I should do. It was like, it drives me insane.
Exactly.
Not being there that whole time. I was productive on other things, but still, I wasn't at training this morning.
Yeah.
That's gonna stay with me. Even Monday, I was already feeling beat down on Monday, but I still made class, and then we did a bunch of sparring and stuff, and I was exhausted.
Yeah.
But
I'm exhausted right now. You can't tell, dude.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody could train in the morning ever and not be exhausted.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think every morning session is hard.
just yeah. Let's go into this. So, let's talk about the depression thing. I know we've been trying to bring this up a couple times.
Shoot, that's
So, I suffer from like seasonal depression and that sort of thing. That's whatever. Just try to get some sun when I can, especially when it's cloudy in wintertime.
Yeah.
But I went into my doctors to see if I was low testosterone because I go through these phases of just beat down, like no energy. Getting out of bed just sucks. Like doing anything sucks. I still push myself through and I do as much as I possibly can. But I get into these times where, man, I don't want to do anything. And everything sucks. And I got tested I wanted to get everything tested. So I'm a thinner guy. I got my thyroid tested. I did the full blood work and everything. Testosterone came in low, but not low enough to do anything about it. But the doctor said depression. And I'm like, I don't feel depressed. And he's like, well, depression can have an effect on your testosterone and all these different things. And I just feel worn out and like completely beat a lot of the times when this starts amping up. And it goes through phases. And I think a lot of people feel these things. But I'm not going to cave to, a diagnosis of depression. There's, some people need medications and things. I'm not a person that's going to go that route. I'm going to push through. when somebody says that I can't do something, that's when I try harder to get that thing done.
Yeah.
Right. That's where us starting gyms as blue belts, things like that. It's like, watch me. Watch me do this. You say I have depression, I need to take things easy, watch me. And
is that the same though? I mean, isn't that, because is depression like diagnosis, medical diagnosis, right? So maybe, like when you say you don't want to cave to it, if you were to accept medication, you'd consider that caving to it? A little bit?
It's a good question, because there are people out there who excel with medications. There's also people who it shuts them down completely. I don't feel like
both, yeah.
I don't feel like I'm at a point where medication would actually make much of a difference. If I was like severely depressed where I couldn't push myself to do it, I could see that. But I do. I have that determination to just go.
Yeah,
I can push through things more so than I guess somebody else that might have not that drive, that push to get things done.
Yeah,
I don't know. So I think that what do you call it? Not motivation, but
discipline.
I have the discipline to push through it. But I know some people, their depression pushes them past where they can't even push through it. So it's not
in like a rut.
It's not something like that, but it is something that fatigues me greatly.
You get stuck in bed ever? Because I know some people who get depressed, they get stuck in bed, bro. Like physically, like they can't get out of bed.
If I didn't have a family and a gym and the systems that I have, I could see that happening.
Really? Damn.
If I didn't have the...
like,
really?
For being
You too,
honest,
huh?
yeah.
If I didn't have the pressure driving me forward, yeah.
So let me ask, so you described it as physical.
Yeah.
Like, because I never really had a lot of depression, I don't think. I really don't. I've known people and I've seen it, so I know it's legit.
Yeah.
Right? But, he needs some. But I've always, like as a layman, I picture depression being like emotional.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't ever think that a person would describe it as like, no, I physically am heavy, or like I feel like a physical thing. I always feel like isn't that in your head? Doesn't that mean you're sad if you're depressed? It doesn't mean you couldn't get up and go to work.
So for me, it's fatigue.
That's a physical reaction.
It is.
That's interesting.
It is. And that's why I thought that it was some sort of like hormone,
Low
testosterone, something like that. And he's like, no, you're...
But it all stems from the emotional side.
Yeah, exactly. The
Even
amount
if
of
it comes
pressure.
out as physical, being fatigued and all that.
So the emotions weighing on you
Yeah, I guess so,
is
yeah.
essentially...
Because that's what I said. It's like, I don't feel sad. I don't feel depressed.
That's what laymen think depression is.
Yeah.
We think depression just means you're sad and you don't know why.
For me, it's like I just had a workout that was ridiculous. All my muscles ache. Like
Without doing the workout?
I just don't want to do anything. Like,
and you don't have that positive feeling of endorphins having just done a workout either.
Right. And so I think how much I work out does make a huge difference on it. But yeah, I've always felt like I can't do as much like a workout as other people, or that I fatigue a little bit quicker, and I'm in really good shape. So it's not like I'm not in shape. But I do feel like the recovery time is a lot more for me than other people.
And that's depression related, huh?
That's what they were saying, yeah.
Crazy, man.
It is.
It's nuts.
Which I thought was like testosterone are going to be a thyroid issue.
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, super strange. So depression affects everyone differently, but I'm not going to,
shows that we can't self-diagnose shit, because like if I had those symptoms, I'd have thought the same thing as you, bro. I mean, I got low T or something,
And I was hoping for, just take this cream, you'll be good. But when it comes to like, take these pills, I'm like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, there's a stigma around the medication, right? Yeah. There really is, bro. I feel bad, because I think that could stop people from taking meds that need it.
Yeah.
Right? That stigma around the antidepressants or whatever. And I freaking blame Big Pharma. They put so much shady stuff out there. I get why you don't trust them, man. Mm-hmm. But it's like, man, if you need it, man, gosh, I hope that...
That's the thing, is a lot of times they don't even know why it works or how it works. It's they're still guessing, and that's not something I want to play with my body's system. We understand what testosterone does to a body. We don't understand what these depression pills do to people. Fully. And that's where it goes into like a difference.
Yeah, I get it, dude. I wouldn't want to take them either, but it's like, you know, what else do you do? So you're just messing with what, homeopathics and just freaking discipline? I mean,
discipline.
You're doing to discipline your way through depression.
Discipline my
that's tough, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's going to help your mental side of things too, just from progressing and pushing through.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that little saying, progression brings happiness. Like, I believe that shit 100%.
You never tried meds, either one of you?
No.
Just never wanted to, huh?
No, I wouldn't. I'd rather go try to progress in my life or get some
that,
sunlight.
You know, I respect both. I respect a person that gets to take some meds. I do.
Yeah.
You know, I do.
I'm not saying
even that it takes some balls, really, because like you said, you don't know. You know, you gotta trust your doc. You know, so I respect both of them. It's individual. You know.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it would help with just getting out, moving, getting sunlight, eating healthy.
Yeah, they say like
setting little goals for yourself.
They say like 40% of depression cases could be fixed with exercise and diet.
Some sun, vitamin D.
Yeah. And there's always circumstantial depression, right? Your wife leaves you, or you know, you lose your job, and those are like temporary things. So I could see just processing through those and pushing through those.
Time heals, right?
Exactly.
But other times it's just something that you live with.
What a curse, bro! I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their thing, right? People get anxiety. You got like addictions. You know, addicts, and you got depression. You got a lot of stuff. Everybody's got their own thing. I'm not, and you know, you look at whatever you got. Like I could look at what I got, and I'm just not jealous of everybody. I'm just like, I'll deal with my thing.
No, I'm super thankful and appreciative of where I am. I got my own gym, my own business. I got a great family, and so that's why it was like depression. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like thriving as far as what it looks. You know, having your.
But those things are unrelated.
They are,
and that's why it could be unfair. It's like that could make it worse. That could compound it. Because then you got people looking at you like, oh, you don't have the right to be depressed. It's like, dude, you think I'm looking to reserve my right to be depressed here? Like, that's not what I'm doing. I get it, man.
And you've been wanting to bring this up. Is there something that you wanted to share on the depression front?
No, not really. Just how I deal with it, and that's getting out, exercising, getting sun, basically just progressing.
Yeah.
You know, and that helps me a lot. And that's the whole reason I started my weight loss program. Like, I never wanted to be a coach. I never thought I'd start a YouTube. That was never in my wildest dreams. Like, why would I do that? You know, but because I was so low at one point, and this was the process that brought me out of it, I felt obligated to share it with you guys if it can help. So that's why I'm doing it.
That's what I feel like. If I can't, what helps me bring me out of this is doing this, is sharing my experiences and sharing my passions and things with you guys, and you know, seeing that a student excel, or seeing that's what actually pumps me up. So if I can get a kid to do amazing, if I can get a student to do amazing, and I can somebody losing, you know, 20 pounds, 50 pounds, it's like, woo, that's what amps me up.
Exactly.
And so the giving back and seeing the Facebook and stuff explode like this, I'm like, there's so many more people I get to help now. And the feedback has been so amazing from you guys. You were talking about posting technique videos and stuff, but what about the people who are going to criticize it? Right?
Yeah, they're gonna.
And I haven't seen very much of it. Now, once the channel gets bigger and everything, they're going to be looking back. And I'll probably look back and go, that probably wasn't the best.
Oh, you will, bro. Oh, I've
done that already. Yeah, we filmed this series a little while back, and it's like, well, that could have been better. I could have explained it better. The angle could have been better. There's so many things that you're always going to look back and be like, that could have been better. But here we are now. Doing the thing, you know, like 1,750 subscribers at this point. Hit subscribe, pump that up. A bunch of followers on Facebook, which is blowing up.
That's awesome.
So crazy, and having you guys here doing it with me is amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I wasn't even, for people that don't know, I'm just a special guest.
Kind of.
Like I swear, like this is cool because
like
because
you
I thought
became
it
a
was
little more than
awesome.
that now?
I thought they had balls for doing a podcast, and I was like, okay, you Joe Rogans, I'll be your Eddie Bravo. I'll come here and be like that guy that's always your guest well before you can get guests kind of thing, right? So, but yeah, I mean, this is turning into a regular Friday occurrence, and I like it. I think it's awesome, man.
I think we'll keep them on.
It's great. Oh, you may have witnessed me get through my probationary period. I think I just got through probation. Every Friday, this is dope. I love it, man.
So go check out Esteem Jiu-Jitsu, Esteem Wrestling.
Heck yeah, Stevie Butts.
And then we got Diligent Minds. Check them out. Check Dylan out on Instagram, YouTube. Do you have a Facebook yet?
I do. It's just Dylan Delgado.
There you go. Go follow him. Blow his channel up. And so he can do the same things I'm doing because Facebook decided to pay me for this stuff. So
cool.
That is insane.
Yeah, comment on all those things.
Yeah,
for him,
like
man.
it.
Comment on those.
We got to get this guy to $30K a month.
Yeah, even if you're not a guy like I was never a big commenter, but he told me that I was like, bro, I'll comment.
Yeah,
if
well,
it
spam
helps
the
you
shit
make
out
some
of you.
money, man. Heck yeah.
And I got a new camera, right? So we were able to do the video things. We're talking into the other one now. We'll have different angles and all that stuff coming up. So we're expanding. We're making this bigger and bigger for you guys. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the description below. There's lots of Hayabusa gear and like those mace bells and kettlebells that we have down there. Amazon links, use that, helps the channel. And we'll see you in the next one. All right.